guys, it's Soda here. Welcome back to another video. Today I am doing a Q&A video, which I haven't done in quite a long time. Basically, I asked you guys on Instagram for some pet related questions and I'm going to be answering them on this video. Also, as always, feel free to check out the merch. I've got some new stuff on there as well as some older stuff if you want to check it out. Links in the description. Thank you guys for the support on that. But yeah, I'm going to get to answering them. If you do want to ask questions for my next Q&A video, I don't do this very often, but when I do, I'll be asking you guys on Instagram through my story, through like the questions feature, so just keep an eye on my Instagram, Soda Pets, and you'll see if I end up asking for some more. So yeah, let's jump into it. If you could have an extinct species as a pet, what would you have? This is a really interesting question. I like this question, but also it's kind of a hard one, but I think probably the first thing that comes to my mind would be a moa. But I just have a really I just have a spot in my heart for moas. In case you don't know, moa are an extinct bird species that were in New Zealand. Well, there's a few different moa species, but moa were one of the tallest birds to ever live on our planet. They got to, well, some of the species could get to about 12 feet, but also some of the small species were like the size of like a turkey. If you live in New Zealand, you're probably well aware of them because like every museum has like the skeleton of a moa on display, and yeah, I always love looking at the moa displays in the museum near me. I just find them really fascinating and I just feel really bad for them. They're just like so cute. They went extinct about 600 years ago due to humans. When humans arrived to New Zealand, unfortunately, they started rapidly declining because people would hunt them. But also they had a single predator, I believe. Just one predator, because we didn't really have any predators 600 years ago. But yeah, they're just super cool birds, and I dream of having one sometimes. Like, could you just imagine having a giant bird in your backyard? Like, I think they're just really cool. And I would like this question, so let me know what you guys would own if you could have an extinct animal or something. What's your opinion on keeping monkeys as pets? To be honest, I don't really know much about monkeys and like other exotic, well, okay, these cockatiels are kind of considered exotic pets and axolotls, but I mean like really exotic, like animals that are not commonly pets like at all. But I don't really like it. I just think it's, I don't know, I hate seeing videos of people with monkeys as pets and other just like random animals like meerkats and stuff. Yeah, I'm just not a fan, to be honest. I'm just not really a fan. I don't think we need to domesticate any more animals. I feel like they're better off living, like if you have to have them for whatever reason, they can't be in the wild for whatever reason, I think they're better off living in a big proper outdoor enclosure thing instead of in your house. I don't know. That's just me though. Like a big zoo. I mean, a good zoo, because we have really good zoos here in New Zealand, but I know in other countries not so much. How do you convince a family member to stop buying for big chained pet stores? Interesting. Well, I assume you mean like buying animals from chain pet stores, because I mean I don't have a problem with people that just buy like stuff they need for their pet, like food or supplies and stuff from chain pet stores, but I do have a problem with people that buy animals from chain pet stores just because, well, I mean like American chain pet stores are very different in my country, but American chain pet stores, I know they come from like breeding mills and stuff like that. Here in New Zealand they don't even sell animals at most chain pet stores apart from like fish, but in America unfortunately a lot of the animals in pet stores come from really terrible breeding mills that are honestly really disturbing. You can look into it if you want to, and also unfortunately a lot of pet stores don't encourage the appropriate care for animals. And I'm not trying to bash any like employees, by the way, at all. I just want to clarify that in case anyone gets the wrong idea. So I know I talk about chain pet stores quite a bit, but I'm never trying to bash any employees. I know you guys are just doing a job, you're trying to get like earn a living, and that's totally fine. It's just more the company itself, and there's not much you guys can do about that, obviously. I'm just talking about the company itself. They get their animals from breeding mills. And when you're buying an animal from a pet store, whether you think you're rescuing it or not, you are supporting breeding mills at the end of the day. But if you do know someone who is always buying animals from chain pet stores, I mean, you can just kindly like let them know that there's like better options. because they might just not know that there are better options. Like, I don't think you need to bash anyone or anything like that, because they probably just don't know that it's not the best thing to support. So just give them those other options, like there might be rescues, or there might be just local pet stores that don't get their animals from breeding mills. There are a lot of ethical, good breeders out there instead of supporting chain pet stores too. If you don't want to rescue, or if there's no rescues near you, that's totally fine. Or you can find someone like on Facebook or Craigslist or something that is trying to rehome their animal, so you can help someone else out. You know, there are a lot of options out there instead of supporting chain pet stores. Are tofu and wren mates, or just closely bonded birds? It's a good question, actually. Would you like to answer it for us, Wren? You're being exposed on camera. What do you have to say? Oh, she's hiding. She doesn't want to look at you. She's embarrassed. Honestly, I think Wren and Tofu are mates. Not in a way that I'm like trying to breed them or anything like that. I definitely don't plan to breed my birds anytime soon. Maybe one day I wouldn't mind letting Tofu and Wren breed. That will be a long time away though, when I'm actually prepared for that. Yeah, Wren and Tofu definitely like seem like they're closely bonded. They do get it on sometimes, if you know what I mean, but I don't have a nesting box or anything, so they don't actually lay any fertile eggs. Occasionally a wren, since she's a girl, she'll lay an egg or two every now and then, but she never cares about them. She just drops them from like a height and they crack at the bottom of the cage, and she doesn't give a shit, and good for her. Pro-choice. And then Yuki just like doesn't give a shit. I don't know, it's quite a weird like relationship, because you know, Yuki's a boy, but he isn't interested in Wren like at all. Maybe because Yuki's more close to me instead of the other birds. Yuki's like their son, their adopted son, even though he's like the same age as Wren. So yeah, I'm sure they would definitely breed if I encourage them to like have a nesting box and stuff. I'm sure they would definitely have some babies. I don't know if they would be good at raising them though. How do you feel about buying animals online and have them shipped to your house? I mean, I've done it before. I've had my Firebelly newts eggs were shipped to my house, and a lot of them hatched on the way here. And also I have like bugs shipped to my house a lot. And that's how animals get to pet stores. I find it a little bit weird when people think that having animals shipped to your house is weird, because it's really not. Like that's just how they get animals around. I mean, they don't really just appear at pet stores. They get shipped there from all around the world. But also another good reason to go with a good like ethical breeder, or I don't know, a good place that actually cares for the animals will only ship animals if they're like fully healthy and they're like, they know they're capable of doing that, and depending on the weather and stuff. And then there's like chain pet stores, they don't really care about that at all, they just get shipped. So a lot of them arrive dead, unfortunately. Do you have an animal that you're afraid of? What is it? I'm not really afraid of any animals or any like insects or anything. I've never been afraid of spiders and stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's any animal I can think of that like scares me or grosses me out or anything. I just thought of something. I just thought of the one like thing that scares me. Horsehair worms. I don't know if this counts, it's not really an animal, but those things are fucking terrifying. They're these parasites that take over like crickets and praying mantises and like different kinds of insects and stuff. They basically control them. Once the parasite is mature, they make the host go into water and like drown so they can leave and lay eggs in the water. It's horrifying. And if you look it up, just, I'm warning you, it's fucking disturbing. Like they're so big too. Like you see one come out of a cricket and it's like 10 times the size of the cricket. It's like, how the hell was it even in there? Terrifying. Could you imagine if they were human-sized ones and they made you kill yourself in water? Oh my god, that's so scary. That's something I need to learn about myself. Maybe one day I'll discover it, because at the moment I don't think so. I'm pretty open to every animals and insects out there. I want to touch everything. Let me know if you guys are afraid of anything, but like you love most animals, but there's like one thing you don't like. What's a good small first pet to own for beginners? I think I've got a couple of questions like this. I get actually asked this all the time, and honestly, I think I might have answered this before, to be completely honest. Probably have, but honestly, I don't think that there's any pet that's a beginner pet. It's just not really how animals work, to be honest, because every pet can be different for everyone, and some people might struggle with a certain pet and some people might not. It really totally depends. For example, fish might seem like an easy, nice pet. A lot of people get a goldfish for their child or something when they're a kid, for like their first pet. People don't realize that a lot more goes into them, and actually it can be a lot of work, especially when you're getting your first ever fish and you're learning everything about them. It's a lot of info at once, and it is actually a lot to learn. Like, it took me a long time to know, like, what I know about fish. And same goes for every animal, really. It totally depends on you as a person and what you're interested in, and, you know, like, there's not really, like, something you can just get and just see if you like it or not and then get rid of it, you know what I mean? Like, you really gotta find one that you're really interested in and do your research and see if that's suited for you and your lifestyle, because honestly, there's not really anything that's a beginner animal. That's just my opinion anyway. I don't really think so. And also, it's different because I have always grown up with animals my entire life. Like, I grew up with cats and dogs and birds and fish and frogs. And then other people, some people don't grow up with any pets, so it's a bit different for you guys. And honestly, if you're in that situation, I don't really know. I think it really just does depend on what you believe is a good beginner pet for you. But I mean, if anyone else has any tips, like someone who maybe didn't grow up with any pets and then got a pet, their first pet later on, and you want to say what you think, feel free to comment down below. You know, obviously to all these, you're welcome to add your own opinions to all of these questions, by the way. How to convince my parents to get a pet. This is another one I feel like I've answered before. I feel like I get this one a lot as well. But honestly, it's like, if your parents don't want an animal, there's really not much you can do, like, because end of the day, if, you know, if you are like a kid or something and you're not making your own income, you're gonna be relying on your parents, obviously, and if your parents don't want the pet, or like they aren't a fan of animals or whatever, they're gonna be less willing to want to like pay for vet costs and things like that. So I just don't think it's a good idea to get an animal if your parents clearly don't want one. I think honestly, like, the best thing to do is just to wait until you have your own income. I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but you know, it's just better on the animal, because I also get a lot of comments, people saying something's wrong with my pet but my parents won't let me take it to the vet and like they want my help, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I live in like New Zealand, there's really nothing I can do in that situation, and this really sucks because I've actually been in a similar situation before when I was a kid, and it fucking sucks. You know, I totally get that, and I wish there was more I could do to help you guys in that situation, but unfortunately there's really nothing I can do apart from tell you to try and convince them to take them to the vet, or call your vet, ask for any advice you can do from home, or potentially you could try an online vet, but there's not always much they can do. I don't know, it's a really difficult situation, and I just don't want anyone else to get into that situation, but you know, it's hard to avoid sometimes. But yeah, if your parents don't want a pet, probably best to not get one until you can afford it with your own money. Outside of YouTube, what is your life like? What do you mean? YouTube is my only life. I don't have a life outside of YouTube. Because that's how YouTubers work. We only exist to make content for you guys. We don't actually exist in the real world. So I think I'm going to end the video here. Sorry I couldn't obviously answer everything, but I think I answered quite a few good questions today. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing another one of these one day, but probably will at some point. So keep an eye on my Instagram. And thank you guys for the questions. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!